Hello everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to start with the second part of this chapter about organism and population. If you like our videos and get some help to understand these concepts, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So previous chapter में we had discussed about the different types of biomes और ecosystem के बारे में भी हमने discuss किया था. So the ecosystem is going to have some components. Components जो living होते हैं, the living components will be called as biotic components. So one of them and the non-living components is going to be coming under the abiotic components. So bio word जो होता है it is going to be related to living. So a is absence. So absence of living things, that is non-living, will be under the abiotic components of ecosystem. So biotic components में you are going to have like the producers. So producers में plants आते हैं, cyanobacteria आते हैं, which are going to exactly use the inorganic substances and form the organic products. Consumers होंगे, these will come under three categories: primary consumers, secondary consumers and the tertiary consumers. And finally the very important decomposers, because यही होंगे जो replenish करेंगे all the rest of the nutrients. जो न्यूट्रिएंट साइकिल को कंप्लीट करेगा, दे आर गोइंग टू बी द डीकम्पोजर्स. सो इकोसिस्टम में इवन डीकम्पोजर्स आर गोइंग टू प्ले एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट एज रिस्पेक्ट टू द प्रोड्यूसर्स एंड द कंज्यूमर्स. Abiotic factors में we are going to see about the temperature, the water, soil and the light, which is going to comprise and be a essential part so that it can support the biotic life and complete the ecosystem. So abiotic environment जो होगा उसमें we are going to see three categories. The first one we call it as the climatic conditions. So climatic conditions में we consider about the sunlight. वो सनलाइट कितनी आ रही है उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है what sort of vegetation is it going to grow. So for example, if you come near the equator of the earth, वहाँ पे the sunlight is going to be much more in the effect और वहाँ पे vegetation बहुत ज़्यादा होगी, as we saw that there are going to be tropical rain forests जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा vegetation है. But if you go towards the poles, then the sunlight is going to be very minimal, उसकी intensity कम हो जाएगी, and there you won't find a lot of intensity or the vegetation growth at that areas. वैसे ही टेम्परेचर के साथ भी होगा. whenever the temperature is too extreme, जैसे डेजर्ट्स में होगा, वहाँ पे भी वेजिटेशन कम होगी. अगर टेम्परेचर बहुत कम है, then also in the polar regions vegetation is low, but at the optimum temperatures the vegetation and even the animals over there would be at a higher rate. Then water availability is also going to depend on the flora and the fauna of the nature, and wind will also show about the rainfalls and everything. So that comes under the climatic environment. फिर एडापिक जो होगा, the soil conditions, soil fertile है या infertile है, या how is the soil, black है, clay है, sandy है, loamy है, all that also depends upon how the flora and the fauna is going to flourish. Then the topographic measures are going to include the slope and the altitude. स्लोप अगर होगा देन इट माइट बी कि वहाँ पे वाटर सर्वाइव नहीं करेगा, वाटर विल फ्लो आउट ऑफ देयर, तो हो सकता है वहाँ पे वाटर की कमी हो. ग्राउंड वाटर लेवल स्लोप के नैरो एरियाज पे ज़्यादा होगा. सो ऑल दैट रीजन्स ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ़ यू गो टू द हिली एरियाज, वहाँ पे हिली एरियाज में यू विल फाइंड दैट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ स्लोप्स बिकॉज ऑफ माउंटेन्स एंड हिल्स. So वहाँ पे they cut the land so that they can grow some crops at the flat area. Slopey surface पे water ठहरता नहीं है, it will just flow away from there. And for that reason slope is also going to be important to understand how the various type of living organisms are going to survive. And next comes that is altitude. Altitude जो होगा it is regarding the heights. So बहुत ज़्यादा height पे polar areas होंगे, वहाँ पे snow region होगा. And once you go down to the flat surfaces, वहाँ पे fertile soil ज़्यादा होगी, because the river that flows will bring all the nutrients and deposit on the flat surface. तो वो flat surfaces पे there is going to be much more fertile soil, and that will also have a lower altitude. So that becomes the abiotic environment जिसको हमें समझ आना चाहिए, so that we can very well understand the biotic component of that area. Now ecological niche एक ऐसा word है that is very important to understand. That is, ecological niche is where the organism is going to represent the range of conditions that it can tolerate, the resources it utilizes, and the functional role in the ecological system. So that is nothing but the definition of ecological niche. जो एक species होगी, for example if you take the case over here in the photograph, once you come to the flamingos एक particular region में ही अपना survival करते हैं. They don't go and interfere in the place where ducks are going to be there. वैसे ही different species are going to have the different niche, and no two species are going to occupy or they will go and interfere in someone else niche. जैसे आप अपने एरिया में कंफर्टेबल रहते हो, आप अपने घर में ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल होते हो. Similarly, if you go to some other one's place, you might feel a little different from that place. So similarly, all the organisms have decided their niche and they will try to occupy that same niche. So वो जो कितने number of organisms या number of species that live in that particular habitat is going to give you the niche density. So niche जो होता है वो अपना comfort zone होता है, where the organism has decided that now it can tolerate over here, it can survive, it can use the resources, and now it can play the functional role in the ecosystem. So ecological niche के साथ बहुत सारे definitions होते हैं that people get confused with. So one of them is going to be about habitat. So habitat or niche में there is a lot of confusion that can happen. So the difference is very important to be remembered. So habitat जो होता है, it is going to be a very widespread area. So habitat बहुत बड़ी चीज़ होती है when compared to understand it with niche. So habitats can overlap with different organisms, but niche will never ever be shared by any of the species. So वो widespread area है, it can overlap. There is no specificity that only these kind of animals or these kind of plants are going to be surviving at that area. The species can vary, but habitat will be same for them. But niche जो होगा, it will be a small area and it will not be shared by any other species. So if you consider the example of frog and a tadpole, अगर आप frog and tadpole का अगर आप habitat पूछोगे, then what would you say? That habitat is going to be nothing but a river, or you can say specifically a pond. Okay, habitat आप pond बोलेगे, pond बहुत बड़ी चीज़ हो गई, but they will have a different niche because frogs generally be at nearby the surface area. वो बहुत कम टाइम पानी में होते हैं. बट इफ़ यू कंसिडर फॉर द tadpole is mostly inside the pond, whereas frog is centrally outside the pond. So pond habitat है, but niche is going to be specific to that particular species. So that was about the difference that you need to remember about ecological niche and habitat. Now we will see about how the organism is going to interact with its environment. So ecology में organism or the individual is going to be the basic unit for study, and once you study that, you are going to involve its physiology, that is coming under physiological ecology. So first of all, you are going to understand that how the organism is going to adapt to the environment, और adapt करने के बाद what are the terms of survival and reproduction. तो अडेप्ट होने के बाद उसको वहाँ पे ज़िंदा भी रहना है और उसकी आगे जनरेशन को भी बढ़ाना है. सो हाउ इज़ इट गोइंग टू ऑकर इन दैट पर्टिकुलर रीजन इज़ गोइंग टू बी स्टडीड अंडर दिस स्टडी. नाउ along with that, once you have to understand कि बहुत सारे changes होते हैं on earth, and that changes are going to occur because of two reasons. The first one, that is the rotation of the earth, day and night changes हो रहे हैं, and even the revolution also comes because that is going to bring about the intensity of the light changes, and even the tilt of the axis because you know that the sun the earth is not going to be at its 0 degree axis. वो थोड़ा सा tilted रहेगा, and that tilt in the axis is actually going to be the one that is going to be causing the intensity changes and the duration of the temperature. and because of that changes there are going to be various seasons, और बचपन में आपने ये seasons पढ़े हैं like the summer, monsoon, spring and autumns. So that is going to be because of these two reasons, that is rotation of the earth, and second one, that is the tilt in the axis of the annual revolution. So that is about the organism being with its environment. Now about the temperature. Temperature एक ऐसी चीज़ है that is we are studying under the abiotic component. So it is going to be the most ecologically equivalent environmental factor, because the temperature is going to change once you go from the poles and you come towards the equator. So pole से equator, या once you consider from going to the equator से पोल जाने तक का जो रीजन होगा वहाँ पे टेम्परेचर कैसे चेंज होगा, द टेम्परेचर इज गोइंग टू ड्रॉप. ओके, इक्वेटर पे सबसे ज़्यादा टेम्परेचर होगा, वेरी हाई हॉट टेम्परेचर्स. वंस यू कम टुवर्ड्स द पोल टेम्परेचर इज गोइंग टू बी maybe 0 or even in minus degrees. So the temperature is going to decrease once you go from equators to poles, of a plains to mountains. Then one more thing that you need to understand, that because of temperatures there are some things that you will not find in the other region. For example, if you consider about mango, तो mango एक ऐसा fruit है that is going to be found only in the tropics and the subtropics area. वो अगर पोलर रीजन में आप सोचोगे कि आप कनाडा जाओगे and then you start growing mango, you will not find mango trees over there. But you can find it in countries like India and surrounding ones जहाँ पे temperature optimum है. So temperature is going to play a very important role in the particular vegetation. It will also show some changes in animal life as well, कि अगर आप snow leopards देखना चाहते हो, you need to go and reach a certain polar region. आप केरला फॉरेस्ट में जाके स्नो लेपर्ड्स को नहीं ढूंढ सकते हो. वैसे इफ़ यू ट्राई टू फाइंड टूना फिश, तो टूना फिश जो है इट इज़ अ ट्रॉपिकल फिश and it will not be found beyond the tropical attitudes of the ocean. So tropical fish है तो tropic region में ही रहेगी. And this was a very important question that had been asked, that tuna fish is what, is it a tropical fish or is it not a tropical fish? So even these kind of examples are very important, because question में ऐसे छोटी छोटी चीज़ें होती है that people tend to forget, and they ask you and they see that whether you remember these small things or not. So even these are very important, that tuna fish is going to be a tropical fish. Then we see about the temperature and its effect on enzymes. So you might have studied about enzymes कि वो temperature पे कैसे work करते हैं. So if the enzyme is having the optimum temperature, then and then only it is going to function at its maximum level. So उसका जो kinetics होगा या basal metabolism functioning होगी, there the temperature is going to play some role. At the optimum temperature वो काम करेगा, temperature कम हो गया then it will not function, and if it becomes higher than the optimum, then the enzyme is going to denaturate और वो completely damage हो जाएगा. So there are many certain regions जहाँ पे temperature बहुत ज़्यादा fluctuate होता है, like you can have sub-zero temperatures in the polar regions, you can have more than 50 degrees in the tropical deserts during summers, you can also have deep springs, and you can have deep sea thermal vents that you can see over here. These deep thermal vents are going to be having temperature above 100 degrees Celsius. So boiling water hoga in these regions, and even over here the organisms can be found. So bacteria है कुछ जो ऐसे deep sea thermal vents में या thermal springs में, hot water springs में रहते हैं, and you can see that how there are going to be various kinds of organisms that survive at various temperatures. The next we see that how the organisms can be classified on the basis of temperature. So once these organisms are living in the temperatures that are uniform all around the year, you will call them as stanothermal organisms. So you can remember it as stano is remembering you for constant. Okay, stano is nothing but constant. So whenever the temperature is going to be constant throughout the year, then these animals can survive over there. सो ऑर्गेनिजम्स को बहुत ज़्यादा टेम्परेचर चेंजेस पसंद नहीं है. दे डोंट लाइक कि एक बार हो गया 28, उसी दिन रात को हो गया यू से 14 15, एंड देन नेक्स्ट डे अगेन इट हैज़ राइज टू 35 40. these animals cannot survive in these huge changes in environment. So some examples of stenothermal organisms, you can see polar bears and lizards. So polar bears is very well known to you that Arctic में जैसे ही temperature बढ़ रहा है, these polar bears are not able to survive because the temperature is changing because of human activities over there or even in the surrounding areas. So that was about the stenothermal organisms. इन्हीं के opposite होते हैं eurythermal organisms which can tolerate the different ranges of temperatures and they can survive in the huge changes कि सुबह हो गया 50 degrees and रात को हो गया 4-5 degrees as we see in the deserts of Rajasthan. So most of the mammals and the birds can survive these kinds of temperature changes. So you can have humans as an example as well in mammals, because humans, as you know, they can survive in icy cold regions of Antarctic, as well as they can survive in very hot and dry conditions of deserts as well. So they can live in icy polars, they can live in the hottest of the deserts. So that is because of the eurythermal nature of them. Now being the second abiotic factor, that is water. So water की availability जो है, it is going to be very limited and very limited in the desert, जिसकी वजह से desert organisms ने अपने आप को evolve किया है so that they can have water conservation in that areas and their body can sustain. So even this is a very important thing कि water availability जितनी है उसी के हिसाब से organisms have evolved themselves. So वहाँ पे वाटर जो है वो कम होने की वजह से दे हैव सम डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ मॉर्फोलॉजिकल अडेप्टेशंस कि उनके लीव्स चेंज हो जाएंगे, द लीव्स आर गोइंग टू बिकम निडल लाइक, वो बहुत छोटे हो जाएंगे सो दैट देयर इज़ नो ट्रांसपिरेशन एंड वहाँ पे वाटर लॉस बचाया जा सकता है. देन द लीव्स विल टर्न इनटू स्पाइन्स इन सम कैक्टसेस और उनका टैप रूट सिस्टम होगा सो दे कैन रीच वेरी डीप इनटू द सॉइल and found water over there. So tap roots होंगे उनके पास. There are many changes that occurs in these kinds of vegetation. Even animals like camels are going to change themselves, so they will have narrow nostrils so that they can breathe in the sand dunes. They will have long eyelashes to protect their eyes. Thick eyebrows होंगे again for protection. Hump होगा, we can store water and fat so that अगर बहुत दिनों तक पानी या food ना मिले, then that fat can be used for its survival. There is thick fur to maintain the temperatures, wide foot so that it doesn't sink into the sand, and broad mouth. So all these different kinds of adaptations will be seen in the vegetation as well as in the organisms that live in that area. और वो adaptations क्यों हुए हैं? Because of the abiotic factors availability, that is water. So water जो है, it is going to be present, more than 71% is going to be located at the surface of the earth, और surface of the water bodies होंगे, that is oceans, lakes, rivers, ice caps वगैरह है, but about 2/3 of the water is going to be trapped inside the polar ice जो अभी तक मेल्ट हुआ नहीं है. एंड इफ इट स्टार्ट्स मेल्टिंग बिकॉज ऑफ हाई टेम्परेचर्स देन पूरा लैंड एरिया डूब जाएगा. सो यू डोंट वांट दैट दिस वाटर शुड एवर मेल्ट एंड फॉर दैट रीजन टेम्परेचर शुड नॉट राइज. So there are water, so water में salts भी होंगे because the oceans and the seas, which are going to be the major part of water holding area, these are going to be salty in nature. So salt concentration जो होगा, it will be measured in the salinity in parts per thousand. So according to the salinity you will classify the water bodies like inland water, sea water or hypersaline lagoons. So this is also a very important point to remember because यहाँ पे भी questions पूछे जाते हैं that for example if you are using the water for drinking, so drinking water कहाँ आएगा? You will use this particular inland water for the drinking purpose. So drinking purpose में you will have the salinity that should be less than 5 parts per thousand. Once you take the sea water, it will be in the range of 30 to 35, and in the hypersaline lagoons you will have more than 100 parts per thousand. So that was one of the point that you should remember about water. फिर आते हैं बेसिस ऑन द सैलिनिटी ऑर्गेनिजम्स को कैसे क्लासीफाई करें. सो देर विल बी स्टैनोहलाइन ऑर्गेनिजम्स एंड द यूरीहलाइन ऑर्गेनिजम्स. जस्ट लाइक वी सॉ इन द केस ऑफ टेम्परेचर्स, वैसे ही ऑर्गेनिजम्स का कोई टॉलरेंस लेवल होता है फॉर द सैलिनिटी, फॉर द सॉल्ट कंटेंट इन द वाटर. So stanohaline, as I told you, stano is going to refer for constant. वो changes पसंद नहीं करते हैं. They like to be static. As you can remember it for static as well. So static है, they don't like to change anything. They like constant things. So these are going to be restricted to a very narrow range of salinity. And because of narrow range of salinity, वो बहुत limited जगहों पे present होंगे. They cannot be found everywhere because of the osmotic problems as well. Many freshwater animals cannot live in salty water, and salty water animals cannot live in fresh water. So जैसे the people who eat fish, they very well know that the freshwater fishes cannot live in salty waters, यानी वो sea में नहीं मिलेंगे, और जो salty water fishes है, these will not be living in the fresh water. So one of the very good example is going to be shark. So shark जो होता है, it likes to be in salty water. So 35% sea water salinity में वो present रहेगा, and that osmolarity will be even considered in the body of the shark so that it can survive in that concentration. जबकि उनके opposites होते हैं, that is euryhalines. These will can tolerate different ranges of salinity. So the fish like salmon, it can be found in fresh water as well as in salty water. Even you can consider humans over here कि जैसे ही salt content ज़्यादा हो जाता है, the kidneys are going to maintain the salt level. So maintenance of the salt level की body में कितना होना चाहिए, irrespective of what is going on outside the body, that will be done under the euryhaline organisms. The third very important abiotic factor is going to be about light. So light का जो source होगा, the source, the ultimate source of light for everyone is going to be the sun. So sun जो होगा, it is going to release the electromagnetic spectrum, and out of this electromagnetic spectrum you need only the visible part of it, which is going to be in the range of 390 to 760 mm. So in that also the photosynthetically active radiation, that is called as PAR, वो range कितनी होती है, it is going to be 400 to 700 nm, which is going to be used by the plants for photosynthesis. So अगर वो radiations below visible light है, then the below ones are called as ultraviolet rays, and the ones who are going to be above the visible one, which will be under the infrared or the heat waves. So वो कम हो या ज़्यादा हो, it will not be utilized, and the correct value, that is majorly the photosynthetically active radiations, will be used by the plants for the photosynthesis purpose. So जैसे आप you can see up over here in this photograph, wherein you can see the visible part is over here, and visible part किसके बीच में होगा, it will be between the ultraviolet rays, which will be having the decreased wavelength but increased energy, whereas once you consider the infrared is going to be having larger wavelengths but decreased energy. So once you consider about the ultraviolet rays, so बहुत बार सुना होगा that UV rays आ रहे हैं and it is destructing the skin cells, skin cancers हो रहे हैं, eyes में तकलीफ हो रही, cataracts हो रहे हैं at the early ages. There are various kinds of cancers that are occurring in people because of longer exposure of ultraviolet rays. So ये ultraviolet rays जो होंगे, these since have higher energy, because of increased energy they are going to be able to penetrate through your skin, and because of that people also say that there can be genetic variations that can occur at a higher rate because of the UV rays that are being induced into people at a very high rate. So जो UV rays होंगे उनके 3 categories होते हैं, that is UVC, UVB and UVA. So UVCBA में से the most harmful, if you consider the intensities, harmful intensities, so harmful rays उसमें से कौन से होंगे, सबसे ज़्यादा होगा C, then B and at the end A. सो सी जो होगा उसका वेवलेंथ कम होगा एंड इट विल हैव अ हायर एनर्जी. सो एनर्जी ज़्यादा होगी, वेवलेंथ कम होगी. सो एनर्जी ज़्यादा होने की वजह से इट इज़ मच lethal, whereas ones which have the higher wavelength will have lower energy. It will be moderately harmful, but still it is harmful because as compared to the visible light, सारे ए बी सी तीनों का भी एनर्जी ज़्यादा होगा. सो UVA के बाद आएंगे the visible light, which is going to have, it is not at all harmful for us. You can survive in that visible light range. So that was about the light. The importance of light for plants and animals is going to vary. So if you consider it for plants, these are going to depend on sunlight so that they can perform the photosynthesis. Even they can depend on sunlight for photoperiodic requirements, कि उनका सारा जो timings होगा for maturity, for reproduction, for flowering, everything will depend upon the exposure to the light. So many various factors like its growth, the reproduction, the movements, and all that will depend upon how much light has been set onto it. So जो heliophiles होते हैं, the heliophiles are going to be the intensity loving plants. उनको light बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद है. So helio is the word for sun. So sun जैसे light होती है, it is loving light. So these are heliophiles जो बहुत ज़्यादा ऊंचे होते हैं and these can reach up till the light regions. जबकि scaliophytes होते हैं, these are going to be growing in the low light intensities और generally they prefer the shady areas, यानी वो किसी बड़े tall tree के अंडर grow होंगे या they would be growing on the surface of the dense forest, or such are going to be the scaliophytes which love to grow in shade or require low light intensities. Then for animals, the light is going to be very important because these use it as a diurnal and for seasonal variations. So photo period use होता है for their foraging, कि day light होती, then they will go for foraging. The reproductive and even the migratory activities are going to be because of the light. So plants हो या animals हो, दोनों के लिए the abiotic factor, that is light, is going to play a very important role. Next we see about soil, which is our fourth abiotic factor. So soil is going to be the earth's the uppermost crust, जो बहुत ज़्यादा कम लेयर में बचा है because of soil erosion. So it is very important to preserve the soil because it is going to be a complex mixture जो human नहीं बना सकता है, because it will have mineral particles, organic material, the air, water, and even the microbes which are going to make it fertile. So all that complex mixture will be called as soil, which only nature can prepare. और बहुत 1 सेंटीमीटर बनाने के लिए भी it takes a lot of period of time, and just within 1 hour because of landslides or floods, all that fertile soil, that is the uppermost layer, वो erode हो जाएगा, and that is going to cause a lot of problems. Because you see plants and animals both are going to depend upon this abiotic factor, that is soil. So soil के भी कुछ qualities होती है, and that qualities will depend upon what is the soil composition, what is the grain size, यानी उसके जो soil particles है वो particles कितने बड़े हैं. अगर बहुत छोटे छोटे particles है, then these are going to be fitting together very nicely and they would be as a clay soil. So उनमें distances बहुत कम हो गए between each other. And once you consider for the gravel or the sand soil, they will have larger particles because of which water will be easily percolated. So percolation of the size will also depend upon the grain size and even the water holding capacity. जितना percolation ज़्यादा होगा उतनी water holding capacity कम होगी. So water holding capacity सबसे ज़्यादा किस में है? It will be in the clay soil. So clay soil में जैसे rice उगता है, rice is going to grow into the clay soil because rice needs a lot of water. अगर आप सोचोगे rice को desert में जाके उगाओगे where is there is a lot of sand, it will not grow because sand, अगर आप एक glass पानी डालोगे sand में, the water will just go away in few minutes. So that is because कि उनका जो percolation rate है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है because of larger grain size. Even if you consider gravel में तो बहुत बड़े बड़े पत्थर होते हैं, it will just go away in few minutes. So that was about soil and how different types of soils are going to have different qualities. So soil may you consider about how is the pH. Neutral soils may generally plants like to grow. Acidic ho jayega, then also it is a problem. If it becomes basic, then also you need to change it to a optimum pH that the plants like. Then mineral compositions, because plants need minerals so that they can undergo their natural development. क्योंकि अगर एक भी मिनरल सॉइल में डेफिशिएंट होगा दैट द प्लांट नीड्स, देन द प्लांट ग्रोथ विल नॉट बी ऑप्टिमम. आपको उतना ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव ग्रोथ नहीं दिखेगी if the soil doesn't have all the mineral present. Then the topography of the soil will also depend how the vegetation of that area is going to be. So sandy soils में जैसे mineral composition fertile soil बहुत कम होती है, so there the vegetation growth is very less. But once you come to the river beds जहाँ पे fertile soil बहुत ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे pH maintained है, वहाँ पे nutrients availability ज़्यादा है, then there in that areas you will have a lot of vegetation. So because of that even soil is going to matter. आपने optimum temperature दे दिया, आपने उसको optimum water amount दे दिया, उसे आपने सब अच्छे से रखा है, but if the soil doesn't have that particular conditions of pH or water holding capacity or mineral compositions, these vegetation are not going to grow. All the abiotic factors should come in together, then only it will be giving you all the expected results from that vegetation or from that animal life. So aquatic environment, maybe there are some animals that are called as benthic animals जो generally sea bed पे रहते हैं. So जो water beds पे होते हैं, these benthic animals can also be growing, and they will depend upon the soil that is going to be present over there. So वहाँ की जो sedimentation होगी at the sea bed, that will also depend on how the benthic animals are going to be surviving. हो सकता है जहाँ पे sedimentation कम हो वहाँ पे these benthic animals do not be, वो वहाँ पे नहीं मिलेंगे, पर जहाँ पे वो सॉइल ज़्यादा अच्छी है तो वहाँ पे छोटे छोटे प्लांट्स ग्रो हो रहे हैं या वहाँ पे छोटी फिशेस है, then that benthic animals can survive in that area. So whether it is on that terrestrial area or at the aquatic environment, both the areas soil is going to be important. Then we come to the topography. Topography is going to be the surface configuration of an area. So it can be either hills, it can be plains, or even slopes. So that is going to influence the distribution of organisms. जैसे if you come towards the examples कि अगर आप center of the pond में हो या आप edge पे हो, तो the organisms at the center and the edge are going to differ. So here also you can see in the photograph that snakes, the long birds, the turtles, these are going to be found in and around the pond, but fishes है या कोई aquatic plants है वो आपको pond के अंदर मिलेंगे. So the topography is going to change the different types of organisms that come in and around it. Then the exposed sides and the underside of the rock. रॉक के ऊपर सनलाइट ज़्यादा होगी तो वहाँ पे you will find the organisms which like to live in that high intensity areas. Underside of the rock पे you will find the organisms जिनको लाइट की ज़्यादा ज़रूरत नहीं होती है. Even in the case of north and south facing of a ridge, अगर एक साइड पे माउंटेन का स्लोप अगर ऐसा है, then it might happen that at this particular area the rain can fall. So यही यहाँ पे रेन आ रहा है, that is the rain fed area. So वहाँ पे water content ज़्यादा होगा, यहाँ पे you will find water. But once you go to the opposite side of the ridge or opposite side of the mountain, हो सकता है यहाँ पे पानी की कमी है, यहाँ पे पानी नहीं है, then in that case what will happen, the organisms that live over here, यहाँ पे जो फिशेस होंगी, ये फिशेस आपको अगर ये साइड पे देखनी है तो you will not find them over here because यहाँ पे रेनफॉल ज़्यादा नहीं हो रहा है. So even at these kind of small areas are also going to depend upon how the organisms are going to be found. So whether it can be plants or even for animals. So topography, that is the part of soil, is also going to be important for the different kinds of biotic factors to be present. That was all about our today's video about biotic and abiotic factors. If you got some help to understand that with the different kinds of images or short notes जो हमने यहाँ पे बताए, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. We will come back soon with the next part of this chapter. Till then, keep smiling, keep studying hard. Meet you soon. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.